So, David, about 30% of the audience hasn't heard of you. So let's do a quick introduction. Who is David Knox? What do you do? What's your mission? What's your purpose in life?
How can I do it as quickly as I can? Because in April of 50 years ago, in April, a guy named Ralph Burnett hired me to be, a salesperson, and it took me a couple of years to get my act together, and I became a top agent. He asked me to do a training session, and again, we started a training company. It was Burnett Realty back at the time, and it became Merrill Lynch, and then he sold it to Coldwell Banker. So it's had a lot of iterations. And then when he sold the company to Merrill Lynch back in early 80s, I went out as a national training director for Merrill Lynch Realty. So I went all over the country and I designed the whole company training program in a big 3-ring binder. In fact, you know what?
Back to the 3-ring binders.
Gosh, I forgot. This is what I created. And it was all this multi-tab training for sale by owner, open house, expired, every single part of.
Gosh, Back to the Future.
So we created that, and we created the training program for the whole country. And then Merrill Lynch sold to Prudential, who went Berkshire Hathaway. And at 87, I started David Knox Seminars. And since then, I've done 3,500 live seminars, 50 states, 8 provinces, 12, 13, 14 countries. I'll add 2 more tomorrow. So I do training on, and then when the world changed, so we went from a lot of the live seminars to, I got into video production. I love video, and we go on location to record real agents on actual transactions with real buyers. And a philosophy that I kind of follow is 5 minutes of show me is worth 5 hours of tell me. Imagine trying to teach a kid how to tie his or her shoes, over a phone. You've got to demonstrate it. So yeah, I've been training realtors forever. I was a CRS instructor. I've spoken at 33 NAR conventions. This year will be 34.
Yeah. And for those who don't know me, my name is Mark Johnson. I'm one of the managing partners here at Recruiting Insights. I recently was the CEO of JPAR Real Estate, which I helped grow from 900 agents to 4,000 over 5 years, using a lot of the tools and techniques that David had. He was a key part of our growth strategy for both retention and recruiting. And so I'll be your host today. And David, I'm just grateful for you to be here.
Thank you.
I thought it might be interesting for the audience to hear, because you have thousands of agents, managers using your site. What are some of the top search terms that agents are searching now on your site? What topics are they searching for?
You know what? Let me do a screen share. So this is my online training. I call it the Netflix of real estate training. So, and just like Netflix, we've got all the thumbnails of all the different videos of top agents. We feature Bob Wolf, one of the top agents in the world. And so I can go into our account, I can go into administration, I can go into statistics to see who's watching what, when. I can take a look at top videos. And once I'm in there, I can check out what the top searches are. And I'm waiting for that to come up. I don't know, maybe I'm using too much bandwidth here.
Yeah, you probably are.
Yeah, okay. So I go into searches. So now I can see in our site what agents search for. Now, some of them search for, the names of our videos. But the number one search term for ever has been open house. And then if you go down here, some people search plural, open houses. So now you can add the 2,600 to the 633. And by the way, I realize people can't see this, so I'll just summarize. Open house is the number one search term in our training, which represents about 3,000. It's 3 or 4 times more. And after that, it's for sale by owner, and then they get into prospecting, listing, and expired. So basically, if I take a look at our top list, they want to know how to get leads. They want to know how to prospect. Old school, new school, no school, whatever.
Here's my point. If a leader and manager is listing in, one of our clients in California was really progressive, and they did a number of months ago, a 2-week how to earn listings in this market. And they invited people, their existing agents, and they invited agents outside the firm. What we're hearing is open houses, FSBOs, prospecting. These are things we could offer that help with both retention and recruiting that would resonate with agents.
Yeah.
I was shocked that open houses was your number one search thing.
Yeah, I kind of was too. I went, wow, it really is.
Is anyone else in the audience shocked that was? Now, these are thousands of agents searching for videos. So what were they? Was it open houses, for sale by owners, prospecting?
Pilot was in there prospecting, and then there was a search for specific videos. I'd have to figure out what that video was, but basically people want to learn how to prospect, and then right after that, how to list and listing presentations, things like that.
So if you're listening in and you're looking for an idea, a class to offer for both your existing agents and potential talent attraction activities, those could be some classes that might resonate with the audience.
Yeah. Have a title about how to make profits from your open house and make it, kind of a clickbait kind of topic.
In your experience, how important is training to retention?
Being in the training business, obviously I'm biased, so I'm trying to be as objective as I can. And I think one of the very top things for retention is, according to Steve Murray, when he did an interview and some polls of agents, they want to talk to their broker. They want to hear from the broker owner. They want that. That was the number one thing they wanted, whether it's a phone call or a visit or whatever, that was important to them. And I think agents, depending on who they are, some agents, they're like, oh gosh, I know it all. Maybe they don't need training. And many of you have those agents. But I think for those lower, newer agents in between, they want to learn how to do this business. And the other part of it is some of them are unconsciously incompetent. They need to learn, but they don't know they need to learn. They think they know it all. Those are the worst agents in the world. Conscious incompetence is, I know I don't know something I need to learn. Those are great. But the unconscious incompetent, that just, no, I don't need any training. I'm horrible and I don't want to get better. So.
And as we know, retention is recruiting, right? The first goal of all of us is recruiting is retain. That's the first step of recruiting, is retaining the people you got. How have you structured the training you do? Because we have multiple audiences, right? We have new agents.
Yep.
We have experienced agents that they have different training needs than the newbies. And then we have teams that have different training needs.
Right.
How are you addressing the different audiences in your approach to training?
Well, for the new agents, we have what we call an action plan, where it's a multi-step sequential videos and tasks to complete, and the ability to report actions back. But it starts with lead generation and business planning. So we start there. And of course, business planning, the top agents need to do that too. For the upper end agents, we feature, people like Bob Wolf, Venus Morris Griffin, some top agents are, they're earning 2, 3, 4 million in GCI a year. And the top agents want to maximize return on their sphere of influence. They've already got a great book of business, but as we all know, half their clients probably can't even remember their agent's name. So we try to focus on how do you get through thanking past clients, thank, invite, inform, doing some fundamentals. And also the key is featuring top agents. And as it comes to training, I take a look at new versus experienced. There's a mix here. One of the things I do, I can share with you on training, is new agents don't want to be in the same room, or let me rephrase that. Experienced agents don't want to be in the same room as new agents. So when you do training, you can do a meeting for everybody and address topics that are market driven. But when it comes to training, the experience, we've got to take them off campus, off premise, go someplace, restaurant, doesn't matter, but keep them separate. So the definition of advanced training, sometimes it's topic, but it's more the audience. So open house, let's call that old school, pretty basic. But if I did maximizing profits in open houses, if we did one for new agents and one for experience, it would be somewhat different. But the fact that the audiences are different, it makes it advanced by virtue of the experienced agents. They're not going to ask questions like, well, where should we put our signs? They're going to, you got any digital ways to convert the lead at the door? Yeah,
they're going to ask different questions. So one of the key best practices you see is really segment your audience by experience versus trying to group them all into one. And
make it elite. In fact, if you really want to do something cool, you can do a by invitation only training. And so you have to have made X $100,000 to be in it. That's one of the ways you can get the I don't need it top agents to attend training. Say, we're doing an elite retreat, or you make up your own numbers, but basically you draw the line and say, this is going to be for those of you earning X or more. And
then it feels exclusive. It feels special to them.
Yeah.
And maybe your attendance is more likely to go up. Well, if retention is recruiting and training is part of that, how important is training in attracting talent in terms of having some training that you can offer agents outside your firm to come in what are you seeing best practices around that?
The first best practice is before you sell them on anything. In fact, one of my notes on recruiting, my first message when I do a recruiting seminar is quit selling. Stop it.
Mhm.
Stop that. When you sit down with somebody, just shut up and say, I appreciate your interest in considering our company. Thanks for coming in. And I'd like to see if we're the right fit for each other. We may or may not be, but the way to find out is I'd let you ask some questions. I'd like to ask you some questions. And you go through the full interview and learn about them, and then say, tell me, where are you as it relates to skill training? What do you like to learn? What do you want to get better at? And I think I would ask that question first. Then, based on their answer, whatever training you can offer, say, here's what we offer for your specific needs.
Yeah. So I wrote down the word stop selling, start serving.
Yeah, there we go. I like that. Shut up, show up, shut up, listen to them, find out what they want. And along with that, one of the reasons to ask questions and interview them rather than tell them, you got to come to my company because we're so great, is I love the Groucho Marx line. It said, I wouldn't join a club that would have me as a member. And you push to try to get an agent, the more they go, oh gosh, they really want me. And now they push back, and it's like dating, the more you come on too strong, the more they don't want to be with you. So let go, relax, and play hard to get.
I love your tagline there about, show up and shut up. My business partner, Ben Hess, wrote a white paper. If you don't have it, it's called the Simple Psychology of Recruiting. And one of the things in there we share is how to self-activate the candidate through thoughtful questions.
Yep.
So if the audience doesn't have a copy of that, put in the chat bar, send me a copy of that PDF and we'll send it to you afterwards. Self-activation is really, show up, shut up, ask the right kind of questions to get them talking.
Yeah.
And then you uncover the pain points, right?
By the way, the other way to get, I think the first step of recruiting, frankly, is decruiting. We got 500,000 agents in this country, couldn't find their office by GPS. And what happens is they pollute the industry. And I had a guy say to me, oh, why do you keep these 80 agents that can't even find your office? Oh, they don't cost me anything. And I go, oh, I'm so sick of hearing that. They cost your clients, your integrity, your thoughts. And then what they cost you is the other agents realize, I don't have to do anything. He keeps me for whatever. So you've got to start letting go of these bottom feeding agents. My God, I've been ranting about this for 50 years, and some managers are good at it. They clean them out, they weed them out. And it's kind of like, where's Paulie? You won't be seeing Paulie no more. Once they realize you're serious about the business and you don't keep these pet rocks that suck your will to live, once you get rid of them, the other agents go, hey, maybe I ought to get off my aspirations and go do something. So I love doing manager Zooms because I can rant a heck of a lot more than I can with agents. I don't have to be quite as politically correct, but you got to get rid of your bottom feeders. There was a guy, I took a CRB course years ago, and he asked the question, should you hire first or fire first? Then, I think you ought to hire first, fill the desk. And he said, what would you rather have, an empty kennel or a dead dog? Get rid of the dead dog. So I think that's the step. And by the way, as you fire all these people that aren't doing anything anyway, you start feeling good, you start feeling light, you be happy, and then you can start going out and finding new people. And by the way, when you fire people, do it on a Friday so you don't embarrass the other people, and then you can have a good weekend. Don't do it on a Monday because it wrecks your weekend.
Many people who know me know that I worked with Tom Ferry for a number of years, and Tom and I were very close and still are today. And he helped me really understand how letting people go at times can help them be more successful somewhere else.
Oh, exactly.
Right. That they're really suboptimal in a sense. They're miserable. They're not happy, but they're staying there because they hate change. But when you force them to make that change, many of them call you back and say, thank you. I've had many people that I've cut loose call me back and say, Mark, that's the best thing you could ever do for me. And they thank me.
Yeah. And I think decruiting has to be compassionate. So even though I rant about them, they're good mothers, they're good fathers, they're good human beings, and there's a place for them in this world. It's just probably not real estate based on they sold one home in the last 8 years. So,
yeah. Maybe they're a transaction coordinator. Maybe they're a compliance person. Maybe they're some other, title, there's something that you can be a force for good to get them into where they can thrive and make a contribution.
You know what? I like your ideas, Mark, because you can kind of help them save face and say, you've got such a great skill at this, and we have this person who could use that, and they become some of those other roles. So I think that's great. But that's got to be step one for anybody listening today.
So look, you've spoken in, every conference, NAR, 50 states, 12 countries, all this stuff that you mentioned earlier. I forget all the stats.
Yeah.
And you've worked with managers and brokers all over. What do you see the best companies that attract the talent the best and retain the best? What do they do different than everyone else?
I think they build relationships through personal interaction. I think they treat recruiting as a game, treat it as it fun, not a drudgery. If you get up and go, oh, I have to recruit. Well, you got to ask, why am I a manager? If that's how you approach it, you got to want to recruit. It's fun. And I think you got to treat recruiting like dating, have lunch. Let me just tell this guy, I'm on his Zoom, but I opened the garage door for you. Okay.
Oh, he's got a service provider come and fix his garage.
Go ahead and go in.
One of our clients from Lion wrote in, talent attracts talent.
Thank you.
So true.
I had some guy going out to my garage to fix it. I knew he would come. Been waiting for a week. But I think you have to treat it as a game and have some fun, enjoy recruiting. And again, treat it like dating. You don't take them out to lunch. Don't sell on anything. You call up somebody, hey, I see you've sold a lot of our listings. And I just want to check, I'd like to meet you. You got such a great reputation. One of our agents recommended, would you like to have coffee? Well, I'm not going to change companies. I'm happy where I am. I get that. This is not going to be a recruiting interview. I just want to get to know you and sit down and just chat with them. And then maybe someday it's lunch and then something else. And I think be in it for the long term. And
so relationships, what you're talking about is relationships and really treating it. I like the dating analogy because that really is an attraction piece, and not everyone's right for everybody. But Stephen Haley, one of our clients, wrote in, talent attracts talent.
Well, that's why you got to decruit the non-talented, because people come in and they look around. Now I get it. There's a lot of they're virtual. They don't even see all the other agents, which, by the way, another thing I wrote down, get back in person. I realize there's times for Zoom like now, we couldn't have done this in person. So Zoom makes sense, but get back in person. And when you do your Zooms in your office, if you're still doing hybrid, don't record them. Tell them, no, you can't record them. I did this Market Mastery Tuesday Zoom starting February of this year. We recorded in the back end, but we wouldn't. No, you had to attend live. Get back to live meetings face to face somewhere, somehow. Please do that.
So back to relationships, but how have you seen folks who are resistant? Because we heard in the poll earlier that the focus is experienced agents. Experienced agents are much harder to dislodge. New agents are easy, right? Because they show up, they knock on your door, they're the puppy dog, they want to get started. That's easy. The experienced agents are hard to dislodge. They've got a business. They're a fear of change. What have you seen in your experience that gets past the, I'm happy where I'm at. I don't want to make a move. I don't have time for coffee.
I think a couple of things come to mind. There was a great Saturday Night Live sketch years ago, two guys at a flower shop. Mm-hmm. And they're looking in the glass case buying flowers. And one guy turns to the other guy and goes, what did you do? The implication being the only reason guys buy flowers is because they made a mistake with their wife and they got to go. So the kind of question is, at some point, will brokers make a mistake and the agents finally say, I got to get out of here? That may or may not happen. And you have to be there for them. And I think always the best recruiting is your current agents. And that's why the relationships, meet with your agents one-on-one and ask questions like, you're busy in this market, the market. What agents have you seen in our market that you would love to have on the team? And they might say, oh, we got to get Sherry, we got to Bob, we got to get this, and say, what's your connection with these people? Oh, I know her very well, and I know him very well. And so how happy are they at their current company? I said, I think they're pretty happy. Well, do you think we could just get a coffee together? Do you think you could call them up? Or then you can write a handwritten note and say, Mark Johnson told me that you were one of the favorite agents to work with. And I just want to say thanks for whatever. And hey, could we just have coffee? Call them up. Let's have coffee. Well, I'm not ready to move companies. I say, I get that. And by the way, the easier they are to leave the other company, the easier they are to leave you. You want somebody who's loyal to the other company. I think you respect that loyalty and just say, I appreciate it. We do a lot of work with your company. I understand you're happy. And, as long as if you're happy and you stay there forever, that's great. We're going to be friends. We're going to be co-brokers. We're going to do a lot of stuff together. I just wanted to get to know you. And should the day ever come well, maybe you're dissatisfied with where you are. And it's just, at least they know you're around and it's something. Then they may say, well, okay, tell me a little bit about your company.
So what you just described is the long game, right?
Long game, yeah.
So, with new agents, we get this adrenaline rush. We get the rush of a new agent joining and signing. But with the long game on experience, we don't get that rush. It's hard work. It's a pain. You're knocking your head against the wall.
Carrie Schmid, we featured here in our training. I've got an interview with her. It was done years and years ago. It's in the old 4:3 aspect ratio, but it's so good we've kept it in. She's now president of Edina Realty here in Minneapolis. And we had a great interview with her again years ago. And she would get her target list of top agents, and she'd get them from her agents for just her knowledge of the market. And she was pretty cool when she said, I will find a way to meet those people face to face. One way or another, it's going to be an open house, a board meeting, associating meeting. She says, I will meet them. I will get to know that person. And that was just her attitude. One way or another, we're going to be in the same room and just say hello, introduce yourself so they know each other. So we've got to kind of get out there and be face to face.
I was really relating because my good friend Brian Buffini that I think we all ought to do. And he ends every conversation with, oh, by the way, I'm never too busy for your referrals. Same thing. Hey, oh, by the way, who do you know that should be part of our firm? It ought to be like the last words we have with every experienced agent interaction we have for the rest of our lives.
Yeah. The most important question I teach agents to ask is, how much longer do you plan to stay in your current home?
Yeah.
Gotta be better in su casa.
Before we got a question I want to address here in a minute, but before we do that, you have this beautiful formula on handling objections.
Oh, yeah.
And when someone has an objection, you talk, this was one of my most in-demand sessions you did for my agents, was how to handle objections. All of us could be better at handling objections. So when someone says an objection, what's the formula?
PAID. You know how to spell the word paid? PAID, paid. And it stands for pause, acknowledge, isolate, discover. And discover really means question, but PAIQ didn't spell anything, so I made it discover. Right. But somebody raises an objection, somebody says, we'd really like to work with your company, but the other broker I talked to has a higher split. Okay, so if I hear what you're saying is, you're interested in our company, you're interested in the other company, but as I understand, the split between the agent broker split is an issue for you. Is that right? Well, yeah, I want to make as much as I can. And say, well, okay, other than the commission, other than that, how do you feel about our company? Oh, it's really good. We enjoyed meeting you. And then D is discover. Of course, the question I would ask there, if I'm a manager trying to deal with that. And so let me ask you this question. If our splits were identical, which company would you like to work for? And they should come back and say, well, I really like you. But if the splits were even, we were saying we'd come with you. And go, why would you come with me? Well, because we like this, we like that, we like this, and the technology, the training, the this. And say, you just identified 8 major differences between what I offer you and what the other company does. Can you see how that might increase your income? Do you see why you're paying a little bit more? And by the way, this whole industry, I'm sick and tired of we sell cost. I'm going to give you 110% of the commission. Isn't that amazing? And after that, I'm going to give you a toaster. Yet we've got to get back to selling value. Sell value. You as broker owners, you spend your heart, your soul, your money, your liability, your building, your brick and mortar, your everything. You do all of this. And the agents go, can I get all the money? And I go, shut up. I want to tell the agent, shut up. Just good luck. You go try to be a broker and see what a pain in the butt it is and all the liability and expenses. You want to pay your broker more so they can give you more services. So to all of you, you give great service, sell it.
In the absence of value, there's only objection, delay, and questions.
Yeah.
Back to this.
Can I give one more example?
Pause.
Acknowledge. In other words, I heard you. Yeah, sounds like that's an issue. Isolate. In other words, other than that,
is this the only, is there any other issue?
And they might bring up 2 or 3 more.
Yeah. And if they bring up, oh yeah, it's this, and then you can, and then the final D is
discover. Ask questions. Why is that important? Why is that an issue? And understand their needs before you respond.
So all of us listening in, including myself, it's how we get paid, right? Pause, right? Acknowledge, isolate, discover. That's how we're going to get through these. Well, I don't have time. You're trying to recruit me. Their splits are higher. You know, I'm busy. I got 15 listings. Yeah. Hopefully that's helpful for everybody. Now, Ben is asking, well, if with experienced agents, if it's a long game, what are some of the tactics that we can follow that we've all seen work?
Oh, great. That's a great question, because follow-up is where it is, and the answer, you know, everybody will give an answer. Well, I like text. I like this. I like that. Well, what's the quote? If you see the world as a nail, your only tool, if your only tool is a hammer, you'll see the world as a nail. So the answer is, I think with everybody, Ben, you got to figure out, well, how can I get back? Do they like text? Do they like email, handwritten notes? The answer, I think, is yes. Rather than trying to guess the best way to follow up, use everything. And as far as timing, that's a judgment call. When you get back, you don't want to be all over in like a cheap suit. And that's the finesse of his question. That's the art of it. You know, when do we get back? And maybe pop in a note. And I assume anybody on this call's got a CRM, so they got a way to follow up. But a handwritten note, you know, some people say, well, David, you do a lot of old school stuff. And I go, you know what? I've never had anybody frame an email, but I've had people send me, you know, I do, you know, these real thick cotton notes, and you got to talk about old school. I've got a fountain pen. You ever see these? Most people won't even
see those. You know, I did a couple handwritten notes a few weeks ago, and I went to their office and they taped it to on their wall in their office.
Yes, they save them.
And I just got one from Clayton Collins, the CEO of Housing Wire, wrote me a handwritten note to my home address.
Yep.
How he got that, I have no idea, but he wrote me a handwritten note thanking me for the contribution I made.
Yeah. Good things to say to get their attention.
Hold that question just for one, because I want to finish this other best practices. David, one of the things we teach is DRIS. Data, recognition, insight, and success stories. So if you're a manager recruiting, whatever, and you're wondering, I don't know what to talk about. Well, there's always something to talk about. There's either data, some recognition you saw on social media or something, an insight you just read from Lawrence Yun or the economic update, or a success story from your firm. So to Ben's question, in addition to your answer, one of the tactics is to have the DRIS formula always top of mind. And obviously, the hotter the prospect, the more frequent you want to use the DRIS system. But DRIS, data recognition, insight, and success stories, is a great tool. David, you like that one?
Yeah, I think it's great. Yeah, all those acronyms just help. But success stories, I think that's another great follow-up. Yeah, the questions are great. I think everybody's different. You have to think, you know, how would I get back to this person? Do they want to be followed up? And then I think being active in the community and boards, associations, and things like that are a great way to do it. But I want to go somewhat. What else would I do in that? Obviously, coffee, lunch. And in fact, when I do a recruiting presentation, I say, quit calling it recruiting. Why not? Let's call it lunch. Have a goal to have lunch with an agent every day of the week. It's tax deductible, or if you don't want to wreck your day, coffee every morning with an agent. That might be. I tell agents that. You get on the phone, hey, I'm calling you up with an invitation. What's that? I just want to invite you to coffee. So instead of I'm calling you up because I want to talk about coming to our company, I want to recruit you, say, hey, you got for coffee? I know where your office is. You want to meet at Starbucks. So we start with coffee. Then we go to lunch. Then if you're doing training sessions, you know, invite them. If you are doing Zooms, which are still appropriate in some cases, and invite them to tune into the Zoom. They can tune in without anybody knowing who they are. So invite them to events. If you're doing company events, company training, you know, if you really want to go someplace, you know, then you know, tickets to sporting events, you know, treat them the way you would a client. But it's,
I would encourage everyone, whatever you're doing for your existing agents for retention, figure out a way to also invite some select people from the community that you would like, that should be part of your firm.
Yeah, well, Mark, you were one of the best recruiters I've ever seen. So I don't know. You asked stuff and I think, why am I answering? You're the recruiting master. How did you follow up with these people?
Exactly all the things we're talking about here. And Christina just asked, well, what are some of the good things to say to get their attention with follow-ups? That's where the DRIS formula, Christina, comes in. Sometimes it's data. Maybe you saw something in the news even the negative news, like, hey, mortgage rates are the highest in 26 years this week. That's data, right? Or that's an insight, a recognition. Maybe you saw something they posted on their social media where, it was a birthday, they got recognized for an award. They had a new child. Their kids just went to school. Right now, all the agents are posting their kids going to school. That's something you can comment on. And then obviously success stories from your own firm. Hey, did you hear about Mark? He just tripled his business by following this action plan that we created in our firm. Lee's saying, hey, if you want to hire someone, treat them like they are hired. And she's saying it works for new and experienced agents. David, what do you think about that? Treat them like they're already part of your tribe.
Yeah. How do you disagree with that? I think it's great. I just remember there's a guy named Bob Clarkson. He's a member of our online training. He's out in Hilton Head. He's probably one of the best recruiters that I've worked with in our system. And he's just great. He's the one who uses the dating analogy. He just has fun. He's a fun guy, out to lunch, out to he assumes they're all going to come to him at some point anyway, and he has patience. But he was interviewing somebody and he didn't know whether to hire this person or not. And he came home to his wife, Rochelle, and said, Rochelle, I'm just having a real tough time. I interviewed this guy, it doesn't matter. And I just don't know whether I should hire him. And Rochelle, really, really sharp, runs a dance studio, great business person. And she said, well, let me ask you this. Would you invite this person to come over to our house for dinner? And Bob said, I don't think so. He said, would you list our home with them? And he went, I don't think so. Sounds like you got your answer.
That's your answer right there. Well, David, I'm curious. The reality, what we're talking about here for the experienced agents, which was the focus that came up in the poll, the reality of experienced agent recruiting is it's a high repetition of proactive tasks with infrequent positive feedback.
Okay.
So it's fertile ground for negative thoughts up here, for avoidance, for procrastination, for not sustaining what needs to happen over a long period of time. How have you dealt with, I don't feel like it. Let me do it tomorrow, and then tomorrow never comes?
First answer is decruiting. That would be the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Do they want to be in the business or not? Come on, we got to quit being babysitters and just sit down and having a heart to talk. Like, why are you in this business? Do you still like the business? Dave Beeson, another CRS instructor I work with, had a great question to an audience. He said, if you knew the market was going to stay like this forever, what would you do? Would you stay in the business or leave? That was a great question because it forces you, like, you got what you got. I remember a NASCAR race, some guy said, my car's pushing a little bit in turn one. I'm understeering, and the crew chief over the radio said, you got what you got. Like, that's it. This is your car for the last 20 laps. You drive it. That's it. You got what you got. Then I think sitting down with people and getting in, I talk about VGO, values, goals, objectives. We talk about the goals of units and income. Then we talk about the how-to, the prospecting, the behavior, but we forget the deeper issue, and that's the why. Why are you in this business? Why do you want to make X 100,000 a year? And if their answer is, oh, I don't know, you told me that's what I should do. You've got to get in touch with people's why. I want to put a child through college. I want to buy a new car. I want peace of mind in my finances, and get in touch with the feelings that drive them, and then connect those feelings, those values to the behavior. I worked out in the gym this morning. There was a moment where I was almost not going to work out today. And I thought, I'm going to be out of town for 2 weeks. No, I'm going to go. And I just got up when I went to the gym, and I worked out, and I thought, why? So I'm in touch with my why, physical appearance and energy. And I got to do the cold plunge where you go into the 48-degree water when you're done. And one of the things I'm going to teach in my seminar is, go beyond your limits. Don't compare yourself to others, compare yourself to your best. And I thought, I'm going to practice what I'm preaching. So there was some exercise, and I did 20, and I said, I'm going to do one more, just one more. And then I got in the cold plunge pool. I started at 11 seconds 2 months ago. I'm up to 3 minutes and 16 seconds yesterday. Today, oh, look at my stopwatch. What did I do today? I did 4 minutes and 7 seconds. So I added another minute. I sat in there, added another minute. And so why do I do it? Because when I come out, I feel good. So feelings drive behavior, and your managing agents get in touch with that. And that helps you manage it. But what does that require? You got to sit down and talk to them. You have to have a conversation.
And you have to do it when you don't feel like it. You didn't feel like going to the gym today, but you did.
Yeah.
I love your one more. And my challenge to everyone in the audience, everyone in the audience listening in, on your experienced agent database in your phone, like you take your phone, whatever, who's an agent not in your firm this week that you can move one step closer to a coffee meeting, to a lunch meeting, to a face-to-face meeting? Who's one agent in your phone that's not with your firm that you would like, who you could move one step closer this week? That's the kind of stuff we have to do, right?
Yeah, make the call. Hopefully you enjoy it. And I guess back to that, you've got to be able to enjoy doing what you're doing. Recruiting is job one if you're a broker owner manager. So find a way to make it fun and enjoyable and enjoy. I close my seminars with this pyramid that goes REL, reward, experience, learning. And reward is the win, the game, hiring the person, getting the relationship, the win. We focus so much on the win that if we don't get it, life is not worth living. But some of the greatest losses, so to speak, what do we gain from that? Sometimes it's the learning. It's we learn something from that. And the other thing is the experience. Have a great story to tell and enjoy that part.
So David, I put a poll up, and whatever terms we want to use, old school, new school, hybrid school, we're working. One of the most successful things my agents had in Texas was a thing called the Home Action Newsletter. It's passive marketing. So we know there's passive marketing and active marketing. An experienced agent, we need to have a little bit of both. But our good friend Albert from Home Actions has created a recruiting newsletter, and he's given me 5 free trials to give away today. And if you're interested, we're just going to randomly pick 5 people and have Albert reach out to you. So I see we have quite a few people interested. So I may twist his arm and get a few more free trials. And let's have a couple of you test it and give us feedback on the passive side. Does this help? David, in your experience, there's passive marketing and active marketing, right?
Yep.
And sometimes we get those confused. Everyone wants to do the passive marketing because it's easy.
It's easy. You don't have to talk to anybody. Agents will do just about anything in the world to avoid having a conversation. So we have
managers and recruiters are no different, right?
Yeah, I might get in trouble by saying, but we're human. So as we're human, we're going to take the path of least resistance. So obviously we have this pyramid. At the bottom half is building familiarity, marketing, branding, passive. At the top of the pyramid is direct prospecting. And the definition of that is face-to-face, phone-to-phone, text-to-text. It is you're having a conversation. And I tell agents, get out, do your familiarity, do that. But add to it the direct. Somebody said, well, I sent out 1,000, I don't know, just listed cards and I got nothing back. Well, what the heck were you expecting? If you want, now go out, take that just listed card, knock on the doors in the neighborhood and say, hey, I sent you this card. Did you get it? Oh, yeah, we got that. So it's getting off and doing it face-to-face.
And for the leaders listening in, it's no different for us. It's the same concept, whether we're attracting agents or whether we're attracting listings. We're just doing a different thing. We can lead by example and show our agents, exactly, what we need to do, and we're doing the same thing they need to do. We just have a different objective, right? Yeah. Well, let's open it up for questions. This has been super helpful for the audience. Has this been helpful? Give us some feedback. Helpful so far? And any questions for our team, David, myself, that you'd like to ask before we kind of round this up? For those of you that are participating, we're going to send out that PDF afterwards. There's quite a few who've requested the recording because they couldn't make today, and we're going to make the recording available to all of you that are in attendance and anyone who's not able to hear it. And if you're listening to this on a recording, we thank you for joining us.
Hey, can I ask a question as people are typing in? I appreciate the positive feedback from everybody. I always like to know, is there any specific thing that worked? Because I know that would help you, Mark, and it would certainly help me as I do some of these to know what was it, what specific point worked.
And as they do that, let's answer this one question. Pablo is asking, how do you recruit a broker? Now, I recruited a lot of brokers, so I'm not sure exactly what you're asking. Are you talking about a broker associate or a small M&A firm? I did about 6 or 7 M&As, mergers and acquisitions, or walkover, tuck-ins, whatever term you want to use. That's probably a separate mastermind group that we need to talk about, is how to attract the small firm, maybe the 50 to 100, 200 agent firm. So I don't know if you mean that or an individual broker associate. So Pablo, maybe give us, oh, you're talking small firms. So that's probably beyond our scope today, but we'll do a mastermind on that. It's really the same. It's getting to know those smaller firm broker owners, getting to build a relationship, knowing what I did. I always put out, hey, I'm always looking to grow. And if you're ever looking to make a move, make sure you give us a call first. It's really the same thing. Amy says, David, she really liked the de-recruiting.
Oh, good.
That it giving her permission to kind of weed those out.
Yeah. Yeah, it means a lot to me, and actually both of us, to see the specifics, to know what worked, because when I do this again, I want to help people.
Linda liked the idea of the analogy of it's just like dating. When you think about it, they're both attraction, right? It's a talent attraction game.
Yeah.
And if like, would you ever go on a date and say,
Did you see us being married someday?
let's get married today. I mean, it would be totally it's out of context, right? So it's almost like meeting someone and say, hey, you want to come to my firm? It's a different deal. A lot of people said they got value out of the paid analogy for objections.
Okay.
Pause, acknowledge,
isolate and discover.
Discover.
Yep.
That's a great acronym for us all to master and to teach our agents. So yeah, Linda's saying lots of actionable information that they could take. That's our goal. Well, speaking of action, our firm, many of you are our clients, and we appreciate and love you, and we're wanting to continue to add value. Some of you listening in aren't clients. What we do, Ben Hess, my partner, and I, and our team, we're experts at recruiting, whether it's new agents, experienced agents, teams. We've done it all of our lives, all of our career, and that's all we do. We don't coach agents. We don't do all that stuff that Tom Ferry and Brian Buffini do, but we coach managers, CEOs, leaders, company consults on the recruiting, talent attraction, training, and retention function. And if you're listening in and you're not a current client, or if you're an existing client wanting to maybe expand more and see how we could help you grow even further, we'd love to have a conversation. David, you do training. Maybe tell us a little bit about what you offer to brokers and how they might engage with you if they want to look more about your training.
Before I do, I just want to support Mark, because I think you've done 4 videos in our studio on recruiting, and they're really, really well received. You do a great job of recruiting. You understand it, you get it. And I know your company has helped a lot of our members. I think I've recruited some members and they say, yeah, Mark did a great job. We're increasing our recruiting. So I know that's a great way to do it. I train agents. I don't recruit. I don't do any of that. I don't coach. We got Brian, we got Tom, you got the whole world that does coach. I train, and our training is online, and I do live seminars. I'm going to be doing, as I said, 8 keynote speeches in 6 cities the next couple of weeks. That's my fun. I want to get back on the stage. But our site, realestatetraining.davidknox.com, is, I've just used the analogy, I think I showed this before, we're like the Netflix of real estate training. And so every agent gets a login, and it's a monthly release. You can do a free trial. If you go to davidknox.com, you can watch a few videos. But agents can log in.
Just for a minute, because I'd like to share everybody what I did in my see that thing up there that's called action plans?
Yeah, I just went to here's our action plans. We've got the templates.
Let me share with them what I did. I created an action plan for new agents, for experienced agents, for luxury agents, for all the segments I needed. And we created a customized action plan for my brokerage. That was the most popular thing we ever did. So then when someone could call, it was, well, go find this training thing. It was, hey, go through this series of training. Or we had a facilitator that would walk them through, how to get listings in this market. Here's 6 ways to do it. So I loved it. It was really popular for our people. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, we decided to take our training to another level. You just go in and have 500 videos to look at. People don't know where to go. So we created an action plan where it's sequential by category, by video, by topic, and they're all editable. Anybody who signs up as you edited all of yours, you redid the task and reordered the videos. So
yeah, we customize it directly. Now, and these are things that you can use and have a facilitator and invite outside agents to participate as well as your existing agents. that seems to be a theme. I didn't notice that anybody commented on that idea, but Connie said she loved, hey, would you invite them to dinner? Would you list your home with them? Eric said, calling with an invitation was his favorite.
Good.
So it sounds like everybody got a little piece of action and something they can take forward, which is our objective. We're going to continue to do these. Give me a yes in the chat bar if you want us to continue to do these. We love doing them. We have a number of guests that we're looking to invite and we'll announce it here, and we'll do several more, assuming everyone's getting value. We'll continue to do it. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of yeses. So yeah, we'll continue to do these, and we'll get a lineup for the rest of the year. Mark Sign says, hey, he's a client. He uses David's training system as part of his new agent training and loves it. We use it for our experienced agents. We separated action plans specifically for luxury. Actually, hey, I want to move up in price point. We did a luxury one. We did an experienced agent track as well.
Yeah, you used it well. You were one of our best users. You got in there and you built the action plans and you held them accountable, and that's what people have to do. So yeah, and if anybody on here is not a client of mine, I'd like to put my email, david@davidknox.com, or I'm gonna actually put my phone number in there.
Put your phone number in there.
Yeah, there's my cell phone. So if you wanted me to do a Zoom demo, I'm happy to show you around the site and show you how it works.
All right. Well, David, safe travels to Argentina. I know you're going to love on the agents and pour into them and add value. Here in Southern California, we're bracing for the first hurricane in 86 years.
I know, and I have a home in Palm Springs, and I'm watching to see when it's going to hit my house.
So we're going to go get we're going to stock up on some extra water and food and hunker down. What we're hearing is what we're going to get here is mostly just a lot of rain. And for those of you who are familiar with Southern California, when we get that much rain, you really have flash floods. And so that's probably the predominant danger that we face is high winds and flash floods. But we'll keep everyone informed on Facebook and LinkedIn how we're doing. Appreciate everyone joining us today.
Yeah, what a great group, really. And it reminds me how much I like working with managers. You're dealing with that peak of those people who are been in it forever. They've been there, done that. They're experts or professional. I forgot how much I enjoy seminars with leadership team. They're just, you guys are all fun and involved. That's pretty cool.
Well, I think, David, you and I share a common thing, and I'm going to use this word. We love our clients. We love working with managers and broker owners and team leaders and leaders who are trying to make a difference in the world. Everyone listening in on this session wants to be a world changer and help agents achieve the financial dreams and the dream of running their own small little business. And that's what we get to do every day.
Yeah.
And we can do it at a high level, and we can all do it better. I know I could do it better. And that's really what our firm is all about, is to help us all move one step better. What I hope everyone also took away is, who can you move this week one step closer to a coffee meeting, one step closer to a lunch, one step closer to signing up for your newsletter, one step closer to coming to one of your training sessions. Who's up for that challenge? Give me a yes in the chat bar. Just one experienced agent. You can move one step closer this week. Give me a yes in the chat bar if you're going to sign up for that challenge.
I see John McGilvery in there from the Northeast part of the U.S. He's one of our subscribers. Also, in fact, we feature him on our training as a presenter as well.
Oh, good. Look at all the yeses we got. Hey, if we all just moved one person.
However, hey, Deb, how are you? Christy, oh, come on, look at now I can start seeing who's in there. I say I know a lot of these. I know a lot of you. Hey, thanks for doing that,
David. Thanks. What would happen? Look at all these yeses about move. If we all moved one person one step closer, what would happen to our business?
Yeah. And by the way, I guess to summarize, Bob Wolf, one of the top agents in America, one of our videos that we just posted of him, he says, we get up in the morning, call 5 people every day. And then when you're done, write 5 thank you notes. Imagine if all you did 5 days a week, you wrote 5 calls, 5 thank you notes. You do that times 250 days, you got 700. Your business is going to get better. So
who's an experienced agent, not in your firm? You could write like this one I got from Clayton Collins, right? Just a quick, hey, congratulations on your latest closing. Congratulations on an award. Or just, hey, there's 90 days left in the year. Let's go get it.
Yep. Well, this was fun, Mark.
Thank you everyone for joining. We will be sending out the recording. We're going to follow up and send out all those PDFs. And David, thank you so much for pouring into us today. You know, you didn't have to do this. You did it because of our longstanding friendship. I think you've added great value. I'm just so grateful for the contributions you make to this community.
Thank you, Mark. Well, you do a great job as well. And it's been a pleasure to work with you. So I'm always happy to help out any way I can.
All right. And same here with that. That's a wrap. Appreciate it. And until next time, you know, remember your strategy matters and your passion rules. Let's go get it. Let's go get it. All of those one step closers and a few handwritten notes. That's going to make a difference. All right, David, thank you. Safe travels. Everyone, we'll talk soon.